Hello and welcome to Rush Racing League's evaluation weekend. Once again, this is Division 4. I'm It's Tito, the commentator tonight, joined with Ricketts. How you going, mate?
I'm going pretty well, can't complain. It's always good to be back here for Rush Racing League as we're trying to go ahead and get things figured out for F125. But how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm looking forward to this one. I haven't seen the first week of sort of racing, just being away, so I'm looking forward to getting back and watching these guys get on the track. It's almost a full grid 18 on the grid, so it should be a good one. A lot of guys obviously getting trialled in this division opposed to the usual ones you saw them in last week. It was usually you'd mostly, I think there's Tyler was a big one that's moved up about 2, and also Sick Party. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the gameplay up on the screen because it's not currently on there. Should be better. So yeah, mate. Anyone in particular that you're looking forward to tonight? Or
Although unfortunately I'm not seeing him in this session, but there was some very standout drivers from the last session that we had at Bahrain. Interlagos is a track that provides a lot of good racing. Ekatsi was pretty unlucky last time out, so I know he'll be looking to bounce back and go ahead and get a better result to kind of build momentum as we get ready for the season. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun time. Newcomers actually took the win last time out. It was a Kick Sauber and a Williams. Obviously, some of the cars are swapped around this time compared to last time. Some different drivers this time compared to what we had last week when it was myself and Amiro in the com box. So we'll just have to see how this one plays out. But yeah, I think this is going to be a fun one.
yeah, well, mate, it definitely will. It'll be interesting to see how quality goes and how close it all is. We saw a good race last night for Div 1. A few more on the grid than we had last night tonight, which is good to see. And obviously Div 2 straight after this. But these guys, as much as we are obviously evaluating, they are trying to show off to the new TPs, which most of them will be watching these races to try and get their picks sorted. So it won't be long before they start hitting the track. But Brazil's an interesting one. It's not for everyone. It's personally not my favourite. Very hard track to sort of get a lap in. Very easy to invalidate sometimes as well, depending on sometimes your assist here is quite crucial. Traction control off here is a nightmare sometimes. So I'm just going to turn off, the audio. But yeah, it's what's your thought on Brazil, mate?
I mean, Brazil is a really good track, like you said, but it's not for the faint of heart, especially once we get weather involved, and when weather becomes a factor, then this track becomes chaos both in the real world and here at Rush Racing League. Had some pretty solid races at Interlagos last season. I remember particularly the Division 2 races towards the end of last season here at this track were pretty fire, and I mean, it's a good track for racing, because, I mean, you're pretty much flat out through a good portion of the track, and a lot of high-speed corners, a few low-speed corners, and there's one really technical section in Sector 2. So, I mean, but you can still make moves on a majority of this track. So, Interlagos, I think, is going to be a really fun one. And like you said, there's so much to play for here. Despite the fact there's no points, there's no championship really. But like you mentioned, the TPs are going to be keeping an eye on these drivers to potentially get their lineups. And if you've been around Rush Racing League for a while and you have the kind of mentality of, oh, what if insert driver was here? Well, this evaluation week is just for you. So if we look at the last season, the governor, who is currently in P17, used to be in McLaren. Last week he was in Sauber, and this time he's in a Red Bull, so quite a few drivers swapping teams, but once again, it's all for evaluation.
Yeah, mate, it's a bit of fun as well for everyone, getting used to the game. We actually went back into this quite quick after last season, so but everyone's really enjoying this game. As we see, Jennifer will be the first to start his lap, but Jennifer, another name that was strong last season. It'll be good to see how he adapts to this new game. Down to through the first corner, nice and tidy there. But yeah, mate, everyone looking to prove themselves. Everyone's had a couple of, maybe a race or two now. Some have reserved up and down a little bit, so most of these guys, it's their second race. We obviously have 4 eval races, so 2 the minimum. But yeah, mate, just going to see what the pace is here. We saw everyone last night in Div 1 obviously get into the 107s. I'd say Div 4 maybe a few, maybe a 107, but it should be around the 108s, I'd say.
Yeah, we'll just have to see. As Dynasty Sparrow has disconnected, I'll go ahead and work on getting the former Mercedes driver, who is now in a Williams for tonight. I'll go and try to get back in the lobby, but yeah, I mean, it's always been kind of a stigma around these kind of games, hasn't it, where it's always the odd-numbered F1 games, so like 21, 23, 25. They've all been pretty solid, and then you get to the even number ones, and it's almost like it's 2 completely separate development teams working on these games, so kind of an interesting one. But yeah, so far I've been enjoying F1 25. For those of you who know me pretty well, I am a massive sucker when it comes to career mode stuff, and the My Team rework is absolutely fantastic. But this game, the way that this game feels is nothing short of fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty much the common thing around here. Everyone's saying the same thing as we see some times rolling in now. A few 108s, a few 109s, 110 as well. Sick Party crosses the line, goes P3 with a 108.5. So we may get a 107 late in quality here, but a 108.4 is the quickest by Gangstar, who has shown pretty good pace in this game. But yeah, what's your thoughts about these times rolling? And obviously Keeper will have to go again. It's not much to think about just yet, early in this quali. But if we saw, obviously, we obviously saw a 107 here. Do you think that'd be too quick for Div 4, or?
It's always tough to say,
Maddie.
isn't it?
Sorry, Maddie had a big moment on stream there.
Well, I mean, hey, at least it happens in the evaluation. Because that's the thing about the evaluation, because we want to make sure that we just want to figure out how the game operates, because if you remember, Barcelona in the last year's game was quite the buggy mess, where a lot of leagues wouldn't even adopt Barcelona as a track, despite the fact that the racing there has potential to be really solid. I've seen some really solid races at Barcelona myself, but there's a few bugs with the tracks, and so that's the nice thing about running these evaluation tests, is that we can find any potential bugs before the season gets underway, so a driver can't get screwed out of any potential points due to something completely out of our control and their control. As for the times itself, a 107 would be pretty quick for a Div 4 driver, but I mean, the one thing that has been very predictable when it comes to qualifying sessions is that they are unpredictable. I mean, we've seen so many times across every division last season that there's been a lot of qualifying shocks, and we have underestimated some of these drivers when it comes to setting time. So I mean, I don't foresee a 107 coming in, but if it is, it's definitely like a 7.9 at the quickest.
Yeah, it'd be a good time, obviously, for Div 4, but just a few shocks in here, really. Like, Sick Party, you gotta remember, was Div 6 last season. He's now racing in Div 4 for the evals, and he's quite strong in P3 currently. Obviously, like you mentioned earlier, SJ also moving up tonight to have a try. Tyler and Davey as well. So a lot of names to watch out for tonight to see how they go. But it's getting exciting. Obviously, these races are getting knocked over quite quickly, and it won't be long before the draft comes around. So these guys don't have long before they have to show what they're made of to the TPs. So that's why every one of these races counts. So we see Keeper manages to improve up to a 110. 110, sorry. SJ has just started his lap, yet to set a time. See how he goes in the Red Bull tonight, which is definitely a different one. 17.6 in the first sector. Tidy lap, but there you go. Invalidation on that outer exit there. Very easy to do, and he has to dive out of the way of the other sister Red Bull there, lucky to get out of the way. But yeah, very easy to invalidate, as we just saw, Wreckers.
Yeah, this track is very easy to invalidate. There's a lot of high-speed corners on this track. I'd honestly argue the fact that probably a good 80% of the corners on this track are indeed high speed, and where you're carrying so much momentum into the corners. And something that isn't really mentioned a lot about Interlagos is that the elevation changes quite often here on this track. Not as often as some of the other tracks that we visit on the Rush Racing League calendar, but this is definitely a track with a good amount of elevation change. So when you account for the gravity, the momentum, the raw speed going into these corners, despite the fact that these are the most aerodynamically efficient cars that are used in motorsport, unless you count like Pikes Peak vehicles, I mean, there's only so much that you can do. There's only so much grip that you can get out of these cars, despite the fact they're running on these soft tires, despite the fact that they have so much downforce gluing these cars to the track. It's just easy to invalidate, and we've seen that from quite a few drivers here tonight. But it's really interesting seeing some of these drivers on different teams. Like, I have to like make sure I'm actually fully awake to kind of comprehend like Dynasty and a Williams. Yeah, it's, although the only one that seems kind of normal is Jonathan Alpine, because I believe he was in Alpine last season and governor in a Red Bull. I mean, considering the kind of pseudo rivalry of Red Bull and McLaren in the real world Formula One, it's kind of funny, but hey, that's what evaluations are for.
Sick Party just goes pole with 108.4. Div 6 driver, mind you. So yeah, he's loving this game by the looks of it. Very quick time. We'll see what he can do in the later stages of the quali. These guys are getting itchingly close to a low 1.8, maybe a 1.07. 4/10 though is still a big gap, and Ralph goes faster with a 108.3. So these times are starting to heat up now. These guys starting to get the grips of their grip, like you were talking about before. It takes a couple of laps sometimes to figure out where you want to brake and try and aggressively turn in here. You can really abuse some of these corners, but if you get it wrong, it's obviously an invalidation. Going a little bit further down, Tyler Mendavy, still yet to set a time, has pretty much just started it, so we'll see what he's doing. He's in a Ferrari, which is another one that's a bit of a shock. Obviously, Merc all last season. Very, very good driver here. So he was obviously in contention for the championship at one point last season. Helped his teammate get the championship very much, and now he's in a Ferrari. It's very interesting, like you said, and it is a bit of a shock to see all these guys trying out different teams. Let's see what Tyler can do. He has got someone behind him. Hopefully that doesn't cause any issues.
I think I believe it's one of the. It looks like an Alpine, but I mean it is a purple sector here for Tyler. He's gonna try to propel to the metal. Is he gonna go ahead and take pole? Gangster's on pole right now with a 108.266, and this track evolution is clearly kicking in. And oh, not quite the purple sector too, but he is up in the 10th. Now, although I am unsure if the glitch of the purple sectors is back in this game, where it would show purple as the new green, essentially, which might have been the case unless he just really struggled in sectors 1 and 3. I know I did see a purple sector 2, but I mean, hey, maybe some of these drivers are kind of looking at other teams like, hey, you know, maybe this is where I want to drive for this year, so they're going ahead and driving them. But oh is right. Number one SW Swith, I guess is the name of that kick Sauber driver. He's in P1 with a 108.1, so one's across the board for the Sauber.
Yeah, that's really getting close now to the 107, so that's a very good time. I think that's actually Seba in the Discord, but that's, yeah, very solid time. He'll have a time to go again too, so he might even be able to improve on that. We'll have to wait and see. Very solid time. Mid-May unfortunately invalidated on his last lap. We'll see what he can do here. He's flashing fuel though. A few comments coming in. Sick Party up to Div 3. Quite possible at the moment. Could be, yes, like Lamb said, he could be his brother's teammate in Div 2. Wouldn't that be a story from Div 6 to Div 2 in one season?
It would be a heck of a story for that. I mean, there's been some pretty good drivers that have kind of came out of left field. I mean, Cooper, who I believe was in Div 6 or he was in one of the divisions. I think he started off as a reserve and then did good enough, got called up to Sauber, and he was on fire for a good amount of the races. So, I mean, stories like that do happen in Rush Racing League. I mean, as you know, because you're a driver yourself in this league, it gets super competitive here at Rush. So, I mean, these drivers are all trying to fight for a seat somewhere. Now, some drivers may get the reserve slot, which is unfortunate, but at least you have a seat. But, I mean, with a grid this competitive in an evaluation race too, I mean, there's really, aside from impressing to new team principals getting ready for the draft in the upcoming days, yeah, it's pretty impressive to see all these drivers just giving it their all in these sessions. And I mean, if you look at the Div 4 race at Bahrain, I mean, there was no quarter given at all between, it's two drivers that aren't here unfortunately, but it was a Williams and a Sauber. Just no quarter given, fighting tooth and nail for no points at all.
Yeah, well, what I'm hoping that everyone wants to obviously move up divisions and stuff, and hopefully that's what everyone's aiming for here. And we do see guys, deliver some crazy driving. We saw it last night too. Great battle in Div 1 and last week. Great battles throughout the whole division grid. So yeah, mate, it's it's really good to see, and it's good to see the numbers turning up too. Because I think everyone, like I said at the start, is super pumped about this game. Everyone's sort of chilling in the pits though now, other than obviously 2A, who's invalidated, and Jennifer, who might actually have just started a lap. We'll see. No, he's coming in the pits, so everyone will be diving out any minute now. Obviously, it's locked in with dry, so they won't have to worry about any rain. I think that's Aston coming out. Gangster. Fish will be the next to start a lap. But yeah, mate, it's going to be an exciting season. Obviously, a whole new ball game. Everyone will have to start fresh, get their teams from scratch. It's not usual at Rush. We usually obviously continue the teams on. So this will be a good way for everyone to start fresh. Fish Lips gets through that first sector very well, by the way. Used all the track and very close to invalidating, but he's currently P7. Doesn't need to improve by much to sort of jump into the top 5. See what he can do for this middle sector. It's interesting. Some of these guys can take this flat depending on their setup. And he manages to there. He drops down to 6 to get the traction, goes way too wide, and somehow it doesn't invalidate him.
That was close.
Yeah, that was very close. It didn't invalidate him though, so he can keep going, but it will definitely be slower.
Yeah, Fish Lips, his car is acting a little fishy around some of these corners, kind of fishtailing through some of these corners. Somehow he gets a purple sector, but that Mercedes has been...
Whoa.
Is now setting a new record for the world's most expensive lawnmower around parts of this track, so he's probably going to peel into the box. Yes, he is. I mean, that was looking like a pretty solid lap up until Sector 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. It all went wrong, but everyone's sort of out on a lap now. I think there's a Red Bull. It might be SJ the net first to start his lap. Still looks weird saying SJ in a Red Bull. See what he can do here. He's currently at P11. 109.1. He's another one that doesn't need much improvement here to get any further up. But just looking at the names throughout this top 10, it's a bit of a shake-up. Definitely a different Div 4 than we saw last season. But obviously, Rekko Ralph and if Kick was in a proper team right now, they'd be stoked. P1, P3.
Yeah, it's been a pretty solid result there for the Saubers, and I mean, honestly, it was weird seeing Governor in a Sauber last week. It threw me off. I was like, I thought the game was bugging out for a moment, because every time I've seen this man drive up until these last 2 weeks, he's always been in a McLaren.
Oh.
And ooh, speaking of McLarens, Ekatsi is gonna have to. I wonder if he got impeded there by the Sauber.
What happened there? SJ it had a world of traffic ahead of him here. It's gonna hurt his lap. Don't think he's gonna improve, but who knows? It might have given him a bit of a tow. He actually does improve. Goes up one spot to P10, but he'd probably be a bit frustrated with that. I can't see who's next on the lap. There's a lot of people on lap. Sick party.
Woo! Well, there's the 107.
He is getting extremely quick now. That's diving into Div 2 territory now. Let's see who else is on a lap. Kick number 1 Smith. I don't actually know what his Discord name is, but he's gone purple in the first sector, so he could see another 107 now. It's getting really fast. He has a lot of traffic in front of him though. I'll have to be working through that like SJ did, but I think most of these guys are on laps, so they shouldn't be too slow.
Yeah, so we'll just have to see if number 1 Swift can enter P1 on the track. He's in P2 at the moment. We'll see if it's a purple sector 2. He is up, but not by enough, I don't think, to grab pole. I mean, he will be improving. He is 58 hundredths off of his personal best, or ahead of his personal best, I should say. He's gonna try to burn the battery. Come to the line now. Is it gonna be improvement? It is an improvement. Look at that. A singular 1,000 putting him into the 107s. Well, it's not pole position. That was still a fantastic lap there.
Yeah, that was very close at the top two. Both into the 107s. They were the only ones that managed to. In saying that though, Falcon, Brandy, and Gangster, actually a lot of guys got very close. The top 7, very close to getting into the 107. So that will definitely be looked at. But obviously, quali pace is completely different to race pace. We'll see what these guys can do in the 35% race coming up. I'm about to scroll down to get all of this. My bad. But that is it. Few names there, surprisingly a little bit further down. Surprisingly, a lot of names that we didn't expect to be at the top are at the top. What's your thoughts, mate, about that one?
I mean, I gotta give credit to our top 2, getting into those 107s, setting times that are bordering on the edge of Div 2, let alone Div 3. So, I mean, those are definitely the drivers that these team principals are really gonna want to keep an eye on, and we might see a bit of a bidding war, if you will, for those drivers, because those drivers were rapid around this track. And like we talked about earlier, it is really easy to invalidate on this circuit. And also it is, I mean, it's not an easy track by any stretch, even keeping it in the white lines. There's always so many places to gain and or lose time on this track. But also, piggybacking off of what you said, 1 lap pace is one thing. Actual race pace is a different thing. You're gonna have different tires, different fuel loads, and also you're gonna have a bunch of other cars pretty much battling tooth and nail, all packed together like a can of sardines. As we're about to go ahead and get underway with the second race of the evaluation here at Division 4.
We do
and
have
another thing that's pretty new about the evaluation races is the formation lap. How do you feel about the formation laps being a part of these evaluations?
Yeah, well, obviously just wanted to try it out. It was I totally forgot about it last night when I raced, to be fair. But yeah, it's cool when it works. It hasn't in the past on previous games, but it is a way to get your tyres up to temp, etc. like that. But these guys get a little bit of a chance to do that, when in previous games you just go straight off the line. But obviously if it doesn't work, it won't be continued. That's why we do it in these sort of races. But that is your starting grid. Look at everyone on different tyres, learning from last night. A lot of people starting on the hards and going long, but more people on the mediums than we saw last night, maybe learning a bit from that. Pretty much.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, that's the thing about the evaluations. It's a learning process for the drivers, for the commentators, for the admins, team principals. I mean, the biggest objective here is to go ahead and learn as much as you can going into the new season. So it'll be interesting. And as I am grabbing a Discord link for somebody in chat, unfortunately, I don't think the command is working. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but the link is in the Discord anyway. But another glitch I found out with this game is that sometimes it will say a driver has DSQ'd on the formation lap, but they're perfectly fine in the race. So just a little bug that may give us a heart attack here and there.
Yeah, obviously, I don't think Sick Party's DNF'd yet, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, it's a bit buggy still. Waiting for everyone to join the back of the grid. Keeper will be rounding the back of the grid, and we will have 5 red lights in a minute. I'll let you take us away, mate, for Div 4's second evaluation.
Alright, thank you very much, Dido. We're going to go ahead and get going here very, very shortly. We see those 5 red lights going on. And it's lights out, and away we go. The second evaluation race is underway. They're making the run down into turn number 1. Looks like everybody gets through swimmingly fine, although it looks like the Ferrari of Tyler is dropping back quite a few places. Jumping back up to the front of the field. It's going to be number 1 Swift trying to make a move. Going into turn, I believe that's turn 3 and 4. Maybe 4 and 5 now.
Big crash down the back.
Contact in the back.
Yeah, someone went around. I think that's a Red Bull, Matty AU. He's in all sorts down the back. It's just unfortunate. We've had a full course. Maybe just a VC at this point, but yeah, not a good start there. I'm not sure what happened. There's your possible race strategies, hard to medium or hard, medium, soft, which is weird. I don't think anyone will be doing that strategy today. Yeah, good start for Sick Party. He managed to hold off the kick, and he has a little bit of a healthy gap there. Those two are starting to drop away from the top 3. We'll see what happens if the safety car dives out. It must just be a virtual safety car. There's no safety car yet.
Yeah, so for those of you who may be new to the F1 games, first of all, we're glad that you chose us to kind of go ahead and give you a little bit of the know-how of how these F1 games work, especially when it comes to league racing. So if a safety car was out, there would be a yellow dot on the track signaling of, well, the safety car. Otherwise, it is a virtual safety car, or if you're more familiar with some more American racing series, such as like NASCAR or IMSA, it would be basically the same thing as a full course caution. But we are back on the way, back racing, and Sick Party and number 1 Swift are really just pulling away from this pack right now. So these are definitely 2 drivers to really keep an eye on if you were one of these team principals.
Yeah, I mean, they are already 1.3 seconds. Well, let's drop it a little bit, but in front of P3, Falcon might be struggling on those hard tyres, and it might actually be holding them up. So Brandy or Dynasty, as you get to know, wanting to be getting past ASAP, otherwise he's going to lose grasp for these top 2. It's pretty evident. But yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see. This is why we do the evals, because it's really showing us who has the pace this season, and no one would have expected, I don't think, Sick Party from a Div 6 to be leading a Div 4 race. See what happens here. Dynasty gets the move around the outside on Falcon into turn 1. What a great move. And now he can focus on reeling in this top 2.
Yeah, I mean, we know Dynasty is a very quick driver. Had some very strong performances last season, whether it's in his own division or sometimes when he has reserved up into higher divisions. Dynasty has always been a pretty consistent force, all things considered, but yeah. So here's a question I'm gonna go ahead and ask you, Dido. Granted, I think the team principals have recently just been announced, if they have been announced. If you were a team principal, what is something that you're going to be looking for in these drivers during these evaluations?
I'd say pace is obviously one thing, but consistency is probably the bigger thing to look at. If they can actually piece together a whole race, etc., and obviously continue the pace. There's also, you know, ways of looking at that just over lap times, over boards, you know, or seeing as we do have a change for the race lead. But yeah, I think pace is obviously important, but you do want someone that's going to avoid incidents and you know, have a clean race. When it's important, the sick party gets the job done again into P1. But that's what I will be personally looking for as a TP. And just looking for people that, you know, that's going to show up and, you know, be committed and stuff. I think, mate, that's the idea of it. And that 4 weeks is plenty of time to get that image. So yeah, that's my opinion anyway.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything you said is, I mean, I pretty much look for a lot of the same things. I mean, obviously race pace is one thing, but I think probably one of the two big things I would look for is commitment, and also, well, punctuality is another big thing, because you can be the fastest driver on this track, but if you only show for a single race or like maybe 3 or 4 races out of the season, then you're not going to win the championships, or you're really not even going to help out your team all that much. So I would say someone who shows up and someone who pretty much keeps the car in one piece, at least the majority of the time. Racing incidents happen. You can't always predict how everything's going to happen. And I think right now Sick Party and Number One Swift are actually doing a really good job of just not trying to do anything too reckless. They're honestly kind of working together to really pull away from Dynasty and the rest of this crowd. Dynasty is trying, but he's only got 29% battery, and the two front runners are on 50+% battery. So I mean, it's smart to really not go for anything risky, because granted, this is shorter than our typical race here at Rush Racing League, but it's still not a short race by any stretch. It is still 25 laps around this track. So if you make a mistake and you end up dinging another car, well, in a regular season that would be up to the stewards and you might get a penalty and drop even further down the order. But also, it's just a bit of a spin there for Sick Party, getting a little drifty there, and that rejoin is not the cleanest there, Dito.
Yeah, I mean, not the cleanest. I mean, at least it wasn't contacted. He's going to get absolutely swamped there now. He'll have to burn a bit there, but yeah, not the idea. It's very easy to do what he just did into that corner, turn in very hard, and obviously lose the back end, especially lap 6 now. Those mediums will be cooked, and that will actually hurt him now. As you can see, he's sliding again there. He needs to be careful not to try and get frustrated with slam the throttle on. He'll go around again any minute. So you got a yellow at the back. Who's that? It's a Red Bull.
Oh, that's...
Oh, no, Min-May.
Actually, no, that's an Aston.
Oh, is it?
It's Gangster, I think.
Well, twice. Cars going off everywhere here. It's very hard to keep up. Hopefully that's the last for a second. This might be... We saw most pit stops off the mediums around lap 11 last night. Sometimes lap...
Ooh. Oh, there's a RB in the wall. That is FTR Mime in the wall there. Bring out a caution, but I think it's only going to be a caution in that sector. Doesn't look like he's missing an end plate, but surprisingly, Mime came out of that pretty well, all things considered, as that was a straight pile drive into the wall.
Yeah, we got big action here. Ralphie's trying to go around the outside, and then the Merc fish slips gets both. He actually almost went up inside the Haas, pulls out of the move, and then loses the position back to the kick. So these guys really pushing in lap 7 here. And this is allowing Swift at the top to just run away with this even further. But he is seriously comfortable here. Has some serious pace as well. It will take a fair bit to beat him now that Sick Party is sort of out of the picture. He has broken away from Falcon though, so he might be on his chargeback.
Yeah, 3-second time penalty for Crew. The Aston Martin currently in P14, and more incidents, it appears.
Yeah, Tyler almost hit the back end of the car, and there's Ikotsi got on the power, spun in front of him.
Wogjet trying to send in one of these, and a little bit more contact, and wow, this is I know this is an evaluation race where drivers are trying to test the limits, but you gotta know where those limits are, and I'm getting Bahrain flashbacks.
Yeah. Yeah, so the first race of the season, that was quite a hectic one into turn one, as the two Astons are battling it out now too, but a lot of drama on that lap alone, and this race is now starting to heat up as the pit stop window starts to open. I would say maybe lap 10, 11 we'd see these guys pit. We did see a few pit on lap 9 last night, which actually turned out to be a little bit too early. So we'll see what happens here. This little DRS train is very long. It starts from Falcon and it goes pretty much down to Fishlets. So if these guys want to sort of jump ahead of any of them, they might jump in the pits to gain an undercut. And that's obviously another thing that the Evo show is a bit of race smartness, I guess you could call it. I don't know what you call it, but awareness would probably be a better word. Which can obviously propel you forward without having to actually pass anyone on the track. And Dynasty gets a 10-second, which is we've seen a lot of last night too.
Well, at least they're doing it during the evaluation races where, I mean, there's not a whole lot on the line, but yeah, still really unfortunate. Like you said earlier, I mean, drivers are going to have to learn how to kind of maneuver on these different tracks, and that includes getting in the pit lane at the correct speed. So pretty unfortunate there for Dynasty. And so far we have 4 drivers with penalties, and we have a car spun around.
Yeah, it's Minmay, I think. Down the back, he's having a very hard race. Hopefully he can get out of the way of the leader who's coming around now. But yeah, once those tyres are cooked like that, you can barely keep the car going. Like you can see with Minmay, he's in all sorts. See what happens here with the top pack, but the sick party, if he pits a bit early, he might be able to get the undercut on the top 2. But who would you say surprised you the most, mate? Obviously we're quality now on the race, sort of, let's say halfway mark now. Who would you say that has jumped out for you?
I would say it would have to be Swift, because Swift, I mean, he was under a good amount of pressure, and I know they say pearls and diamonds are formed under pressure, but so are mistakes. And the fact that even under the intense pressure of Sick Party, Swift didn't really get affected by it. He was cold as ice. So, I mean, and also he had a really good time, really close to Sick Party, as we have our first retirement, and hopefully the only retirement of the session, with Mime. I mean, Mime was just having a very unfortunate race, so I think just to kind of, you know, cool off of it, that might have been the best choice.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there. He may have had some sort of underfloor damage or something, but yeah, not the night for Minmay. He will move on and have another crack at it next week, or maybe in another division this week. We'll see how he goes. But this battle pack up the top is getting a bit spicy now, mate. They're all sort of separated from, I'd say, from P7 now. As we see some pit stops, there you go. Sick Party just slamming on the brakes so much earlier than you usually would, just to avoid that 10-second. There must be a bit of a problem here, as we see a few pit stops eventually now. The pit has followed the Merc in, and they don't want to let anyone undercut each other. So I wonder where these guys are going to come out. If they come out in traffic, it will hurt their race, but they look like they're going to have a nice clear air.
Yeah, and something that I actually kind of picked up from endurance racing is that,
Full wide. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Oh, good. I mean, yeah, wow, these two Astons are really battling it out here, and Dynasty is kind of in the mix now, as Crew, Gangster, and Dynasty are all pretty much, and there's a spin there from Crew, getting a little bit wide. His car snaps out to the left, and he does go a bit wide. He will drop out of this battle now, and now it is just Dynasty pretty much right up the gearbox of Gangster here. And I mean, there's no points on the line for either of these drivers, but this is about personal pride at this point. I mean, you're still going to want to do your best and make the best impression possible, especially if you are a newcomer to the league. Dynasty is definitely not one of those newcomers. He's been around for quite some time now, driving for Mercedes last season, and another yellow flag. I think that was resolved very, very quickly. I had something I was gonna say before this very intense battle for P7 broke out, and Dynasty is now up a spot.
Yeah, so I was just on board with Fishlets for his on-board lap, but yes, people battling extremely hard for this eval, like we mentioned earlier, trying to prove themselves and obviously get as much experience in before these main races kick off, I would imagine. But I think it just shows how competitive it always is. Even when you're only battling for points on a screen, you're still very competitive, and these guys all want to win. So it's even getting very close at the top now. As Falcon's starting to fall victim of 2A. When do these guys pit? Because they obviously know Sick Party and Ralph have pitted, and there you go. 2A is in. So if you can put a pan very late on the brakes and has to pretty much go in sideways to avoid a pen, but he managed to.
Yeah, I'm not sure if 2A got the memo that these are Formula 1 cars, not Formula Drift. Although Formula Drift Alpine would be pretty cool to see, but typically the cars in that series are front engine rear wheel drive, but crazier things have happened. I mean, Alpine might see more success there in the real world compared to their Formula 1 efforts.
Yeah, well, that
but
would be
all
hard.
that aside, I mean, all that aside, and actually, something I actually want to notice, and something that SJ actually talked to me about earlier, is he is running a special helmet for today. It is a Interlagos themed helmet with the Brazilian flag colors, which is always pretty neat to see.
Okay, very interesting. As we know, the helmets in this game have been a bit updated. You can do a little bit more than you could last season, which is new music to the ears of SJ and obviously 2A. They do the helmets every week, and I believe so. Ooh.
Sorry about that. Governor just made a fantastic dive onto Crew there, and he made a very good pass, although I think Crew went a bit wide, but still Governor's making quite a few moves here. And I mean, that's the thing I love about this track is, like, there's always a place to make a dive bomb and to make a move and it not be seen as absolutely insane or absolutely insane.
Yeah, I know, mate. We saw a lot last. Oh, what's happened there? Aston's battling it out here. Big send from
Again.
Gangster. And yeah, geez, the TP in real life would be screaming if this was actually happening. But that's what this is all about. But yeah, like I was saying, I can't even remember what we're talking about now.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be a trend. It seems like as soon as we start talking about, like, something, like, you know, philosophical, the on-track action says, no, we don't do that here. And just provides us with some absolute cinema. And if the evaluation races are this intense, then this coming season is going to be definitely something to watch. I mean, I am so pumped for the season. What we're not pumped for is 10-second penalties for pit lane violations, and I'm sure Tyler is not pumped about that one.
No, I don't think anyone would be pumped about that one, but what's happened there, Crew?
Crew has turned his car into a tricycle. He is missing a wheel, just a little too heavy on the brakes going into, I believe that's turn 12, I want to say, and just wrecked it out. So it is, oh, this time I think, yep, there is a safety car on track this time round on lap 15 out of 25.
Yeah, that's taking a big hit to bring the safety car out because it's obviously unreduced, but yeah, that's unfortunate for Crew. Obviously he was doing quite well, but this will bring everyone back together. But there is a pretty big gap, I must admit, between obviously Kotze and Falcon, so obviously we'll have to see what's happened here and see if any of these guys are struggling, or there was a few incidents I know that happened at the start of the race that we have to take into account too, but this will give everyone the chance to have another crack. And I wonder if we see anyone rethink their pits and go for hit. I probably wouldn't if you just pitted, but you'll get Fish Lips he'll really benefit from this. He will get basically a free pit stop. He won't get pole, but he will come out in a lot better position than he went in, I think. And he will be on the medium tyre to the end. Can it get to the end though? Should be okay, but it will be burning a bit. We saw the guys do about 11 laps in the meeting, so it's a fair chunk to do. We've got 10 laps to do, but he'll be alright.
Yeah, especially because under the safety car you burn about roughly half as much tires as you normally would in regular racing conditions, but 2A is now going to jump up into second, and now Swith is going to be under a ton of pressure once we get going. I mean, we're going to at least see at least another 2 laps probably, and Matty AU joins the club of drivers who have retired from the session. We started with 18, we are down to 15, and actually we have an explanation in chat here from Crew himself. Wheels went in the grass and boom, into the wall. Yeah, I know a common thing to tell people nowadays in this modern age of internet culture is to tell people to go touch grass. Well, going outside is a fantastic thing, something I honestly don't do enough of. But touching grass with slicks is very unadvisable. So, if you touch grass, make sure it's not with slick rubber, because that is going to end very badly for you.
Yeah. Well, anyway, now that we're sorry, I'm just reading the comments. Now that we're back in safety car, like I said, everyone will have another chance. This is a track though that it always, for some reason, brings huge gaps. Whenever you race here, there's always huge gaps that form on the track, and I don't know if it's only because it's only like a 1 minute 10 laps sort of thing around here. And if you make a mistake, you're pretty much gone. But I've always noticed that about Brazil. You always see huge gaps form on track, and SJ goes on the softs. It's a huge gamble there, and he'll be absolutely rapid. But it's not the easiest to get from last to first here through the safety car pack. So he'll keep an eye on SJ. See if he can dive through the field.
Yeah, Crew was saying that he was joking about potentially joining comms. I mean, hey, talk with SJ or talk with Governor. He might actually take you up on that offer. Because we do have Division 2 running after this. They're running their evaluation on the exact same track here. So if you love Interlagos, then I mean, hey, Interlagos is so nice that we're gonna do it twice. And we're going to go ahead and get started under the safety car. Is going to pull on in. And Swith is really backing up this pack. He's going to try to really catch him napping. Trying to get every bit of heat into those tires. And 10-second penalty for a severe collision with Salt for My Chips. And that was against Gangster, I believe. I believe I read that right. I'll check the race directory. But yeah, we're back for green, and I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, we're going green now. I saw a few incidents there. A lot of guys going side by side, and Gangster actually retiring before he even made it to the line. But a few moves into turn one. Oh, jeez, that was close. Everyone else safe. But yeah, another Aston gone, which is unfortunate. But this is it. This is the end grid now. So my chips might be going for a move. So is the Williams on Wogjet. But yeah, everyone else, mate, smooth start. Swift now probably trying to escape here. He's on the hard tyres, and he knows that a lot of these guys behind are quicker on the mediums, so he'll have some work to do. Keep your eye on SJ on that soft. He's got a lot of work to do, but he'll be super fast. He'll be the fastest on track. If he can get some overtakes before those tyres die off, he'll be happy, but he is not using any battery at the moment, so he's currently not pushing. But a good start, Reckers, other than unfortunately the Gangster retiring. I don't even know how that happened. He just seemed to have just stopped on the track.
Yeah, so I went through the race directory, and he did have a collision with Salt for My Chips under the safety car. So yeah, I think that kind of just signaled that he was pretty much done and dusted. And now we are down to 14 cars on track here at the moment. And I mean, we're keeping an eye on SJ because he is a driver that's expected to really move through the field. But I mean, a driver we haven't talked about a lot today is Wogjet. He's moved up the most positions out of anybody here on the day. He has moved up 6 positions from where we started, and I mean once again, unfortunately, there's no points really given out for the evaluation, but if he's eyeing any particular teams or if he's even eyeing a Williams drive this season, then I think moving up 6 places in one race is a pretty good way to kind of put your name in the hat at minimum with the upcoming draft. But 2A and Fish Lips also both up 5 positions. Wogja now losing a position there to Salt for My Chips. And also Keeper's up 5 positions, although granted there's quite a few DNFs, but still.
Wogjet will struggle where he is though on those 7-lap old hards. He will be in a world of hurt. Everyone around him is in extremely quick tire range here as we got a lot of moves. P4 Falcon Greco and get the job done on 6. 6 tries to go back on the Ralph, he gets it done too. But these guys now, got another yellow to McLaren. Cot season spun on turn 2. Unfortunate. SJ gets his first move with the second move on that soft tire. It doesn't seem to be going, I think, the way he hoped. It's not as fast as the medium, to be fair. Ralph and Salt go side by side. They're still side by side, holding on there. None of them want to budge, and eventually the kick has to pull out there. Otherwise, it was lights out there. They're trying to both of these Williams really pushing. But
yeah, I don't think. I think for SJ, also known as the Governor, currently a P10, I don't think the soft tire compound might have been the strat. I think he's actually struggling out there just a bit. He's not really pulling in that gap to the Williams pair up ahead, as Fish Lips does get the fastest lap of this Grand Prix with a 1:10.258. A fantastic lap there for the Mercedes man. Now we're gonna see, right now, SJ's under a good amount of pressure from Tyler, who in himself is missing a front left end plate on that Ferrari. So yeah, I know we're not in Vegas, but oh well, there's a retirement in the pits. But I know we're not in Vegas. Sometimes just a gamble just doesn't work. But hey, evaluation races, these are the best times to gamble, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something to try. I think he probably was best off keeping the mediums, as we've had someone drive the day out. Do we drive in the days? Yes, I think we are.
I think we kind of did one last week with myself and Myro. We can do one again today. I don't see why we couldn't. I know there's no interviews after this race, so once we're done with the race, we'll go through the results, and then that'll be pretty much that, and then we'll pass it over to the Division 2 guys coming up. But yeah, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
God, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I know.
Fish Lips has had a solid drive, but he has that pen. But I tell you what, I think that 3 seconds, honestly, I'd still give it to Fish Lips in my opinion.
Yeah, just to just kind of spice things up, Fish Lips has had a fantastic drive. That is no question about it. Even with the pen, he's gonna drop to, I think he's gonna drop to maybe P3 at the most, maybe P4 if Sick Party can really catch up. But overall, it's been a pretty solid evaluation race. He's still gonna be positive in terms of where he started versus where he finished. So I think Fish Lips would be a very solid candidate. 2A though has also been a pretty impressive driver. Same with Wogjet. Keeper, although granted, a lot of the drivers that he has passed are drivers that have DNF'd. Oh, there goes my 2A. Man, I'm just commentators cursing some of these drivers, unfortunately, but Yeah, it's a tough one because I mean a lot of these drivers are driving pretty well. I mean, if we're gonna bring up anybody else, I would have to say you gotta bring up number one Swift because he pretty much he made moves but also stayed out of the trouble and stayed within the white line. So he's been keeping his pace pretty consistent, and he's also kept it within the track limit. So no penalties for the Sauber.
Yeah. I mean, I really think these top 7, I mean, pretty much the whole grid have really showed some good driving tonight, but there's some good names that have stuck out. But yeah, a lot of these TPs we'll be looking at. 2 of them were my ex-drivers, and Modjet and Sick Party both raced for me last season. So yeah, great racing from all of them. Fish Lips, unfortunately, will drop a little bit further down. He will lose one less spot now because 2 Asian for you is got one as well. But Swift at this stage looks like the favourite to seal the deal as Falcon gets the job done on Party, no problems. These guys have battled all race, and I think Sick Party is in a very comfortable division at the moment, in sort of Div 4, but we could even see him go up into Div 3. But these guys really, you can see in the race pace very different to the quali pace. Very different how you betray someone, I guess you could see.
Yeah, I mean, another thing. Ooh, that's pretty dicey there. Pretty dicey stuff here between Sick Party and Dynasty Sparrow. These drivers are fighting tooth and nail. And Sulfur My Chips is just directly behind them. So if any of these drivers make a mistake, even Falcon up ahead in the RB, then this could really benefit the Haas driver. But all these drivers are pretty much just waiting, trying to goad each other into making a mistake here, trying to push the limits of what is allowed. And during these evaluation races, that is exactly what you need to do as we start the final lap of this Brazilian Grand Prix, Dito.
Yeah, mate, it's been a good one. As this, oh no, Falcon and Sick Party make contact, unfortunately, and that's a shame. They were racing very well all race. That's going to allow Dynasty to have a little crack at the inside of Falcon. That's unfortunate for Falcon. He'll see if he can defend around the outside. He does. Dynasty might have burnt the battery a little bit too early there. Moving up the top though, the Kick doesn't want to leave this off the track. He wants to get the job done on track. And there's yellows at the back.
Falcon's off. Dynasty's off. So something happened there. And then here comes Governor. Gonna get 2 freebies. Oh, he's gonna get 1 freebie, and Falcon might have forced him off. Oh, this is spicy, but coming across the line now to take the checkered flag. He's only got a few more corners left to go. He will drop the positions though, unfortunately due to a penalty, but it's been a fantastic drive from these top 3. And your winner is Swift. Swift gets the race win thanks to the penalty that Fish Lips had. But Fish Lips crosses the line first, and I mean, that was honestly, despite the fact that was shorter than our typical Brazilian Grand Prix race here at Rush Racing League, that was a pretty fine race here, Dito.
Yeah, it definitely was no bad race at all. As Brandy finishes in the pit lane, but yeah, I quite like that race. Unfortunately, a fair few DNFs, but saw some great overtakes and some great pace from people that we probably didn't expect to, and obviously shines a light on a lot of things that we can look forward for this season. But yeah, mate, I wasn't expecting people to be battling that hard.
I mean, that's what we saw in Bahrain too. I mean, once again, it's a Sauber again winning. They're 2 for 2 right now in these evaluation races here at Division 4. So Sauber taking back-to-back wins here. But yeah, there's a lot of battling happening in these eval races, which you wouldn't expect it. But I mean, if this is just the evaluation races, then man, we are in for a heck of a season.
Yeah, mate, we are. We absolutely are. And obviously we also have one more race after this coming straight up with Div 2, which will be another one to watch. It's quite a stacked grid tonight to be involved in. So yeah, make sure you watch that one. But yeah, mate, I don't really know what else to say about that. It was quite crazy. A bit more than I was expecting. But a few names there. If you look at the times, they're very close throughout the grid, most around the 110s. So for the TPs that are looking at certain times, etc. There you go. But if that's it from you, mate, we might just wrap it up there so that I can get ready for this Div 2 race, as I am racing in that. And yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I gotta say is you guys should definitely go ahead and drop a follow here on our Twitch channel so you don't miss the upcoming Division 2 race. And also check us out on our YouTube where all the race VODs will be re-uploaded once the stream is wrapped up. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. And well, for your race, Dito, best of luck.
Thank you, mate, and I will see you in the comms box soon.
Alright, see ya.